Hi, folks. Well, this story today is going to be set in South Africa, as so many of my stories are. And if you've listened to some of my previous ones, you'll remember that I talk about the Indian Ocean, the KwaZulu Natal state where the Zulu people live and where I was. And I talk about the subtropical climate, the gorgeous trees with flowers, the red flame tree, the green, blue jacaranda, there's so many. And of course the fruit, everything you could imagine. We got the papaya, pawpaw, the passion fruit, pineapple, mango, guava, lychee, and it's so beautiful, provided you can get to them before the monkeys get them. And it's a beautiful coastline, the people exuberant, the Zulus are happy and colourful. And I usually talk of the thunderstorms that we have in January, February. Each afternoon, usually a downpour, and then an hour or so later the sky clears and white clouds are skitting by. Now this time I'm not going to talk of white clouds. I'm going to talk of dark clouds, because this was a really bad time for me. I had left IBM and opened a shoe shop. Now you may wonder why, after so many years in the computer business, you decide to open a shoe shop. Well, I have these crazy ideas, and I wanted my own business. That was the idea. And so I opened a shoe shop, and it's going well. It becomes a shoe business. The idea is I have thousands of pairs, and I display a huge number. And people come in, and I buy end of production lines, odd excess pairages that they've made, and there's always shoes to be had from shoe factories in various states. And so I opened this business, and it was going well. I had hundreds of display units and 1,000 pairs on display all the time. And I'm going really well. And a couple of years into this, Durban municipality come to me and say, you're not supposed to be retailing from this location. What? There was a retail shop here before. Well, perhaps there was, but you're not supposed to be retailing, and therefore we're going to fine you every single day that you're open. A large amount, I forget what it was. Well, you can go to arbitration, you can question it, and we set a date to go to Pietermaritzburg and go to court, but we're going to fine you each day, and if you are found that you are guilty, you should not have been, we are right, you will have to repay all that money every day that we fine you. Wow. And a few weeks later, my landlord comes. And he smokes a fat cigar and he slouches in my chair. And of course, he says, I'm going to increase your rent by 50% at the end of your lease. Now, this is a double whammy. No business can manage, to operate under a cloud, thinking what happens if I lose, and no business can manage to absorb 50% rental costs. I don't know what to do. I don't think anyone, I don't know. What would you do? So I didn't want to answer my phone. I didn't. Some days I would weep driving into work. I want to crawl under my desk. I don't know what to do. I'm really lost. And I owe a huge amount of money, because what factories do, you buy shoes from them, 3 months later, it's due for payment. Now, unless you sell at a reasonable markup, you don't have that sort of cash. And I need to fold up the business. I can't operate. What am I going to do? Do you believe in angels? Well, I don't. Let me correct myself. I didn't. Because one day, this guy walks in. He's from Cape Town, 1,000 k's away, or 2 or 5,000 k's away. And he's a factory owner, and he says, "You owe me money, I've come to collect, because I don't answer the phone anymore." And he sees the state I'm in. I explained to him what's happening. And I remember to this day, he kind of wore this cloak, and he whips the cloak off, hangs it up behind my door. He says, "I'm also an accountant. Tell me everything." So he sits down, and for next hour or 2 hours, I tell him what I owe to which factory, when it's due, what pairage is, what I have in stock. And he goes through one by one, and he says, and he's been in the business many years, he says, "Oh, pay that factory because they'll take you to court very soon. Don't pay that one, give him a little bit." And he goes through each of my debtors and tells me what to do. And now listen, what he says at the end is the gobsmacker. He says, "Don't pay me, I can wait." And he gave me the formula for getting out of this huge debt. Full page advert, huge sales. He told me everything, and I pulled out. Honestly, that he was an angel. But a year of being ground down had reduced me. It really made me, I don't know if you have felt anything like that yourselves. You know, you want to get your mojo back. You want to build yourself up again, because I've been ground down. And I thought, if I do something really dangerous, really, I'll get my power back. And there's a coastline not far from Durban. It's called the Wild Coast. It's the bottom of Transkei, which is an independent kingdom within South Africa. And there's nothing there. There are no roads, no bridges, no electricity. It's wilderness. And I thought I'd go from Port Edward to Port St. John's. It's 100k. I estimated 15k a day. Most of the walking is on beach, which is not easy, and close to the shore. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it solo, which is a little bit dangerous. But I packed, and in those days, it's about 30, 40 years ago, there were no freeze-dried fruits, not where we were in South Africa. So I took loaves of bread. Imagine 3 full loaves of bread, 7 tins of sardines, and the sardines were heavy tins in those days, not like the light ones. My pack was heavy. I had a circumference perimeter, a tripwire if people come, because they can rob you on these places, and so on. I think it was more than a third of my body weight. So it was really heavy. Anyway, I set off. And I'm doing well. The thing to watch out for are the rivers, because there are no bridges. At every river, I would have to undress, split my pack, make a raft, put half my gear on, swim across the river, and then come back for my other half of the gear. Of course, what didn't help is knowing that sharks often circle around the estuary of rivers. And I was thinking, me swimming there, my dangly bits, maybe look very delicious to the shark, but I'm intact. So they didn't go for me. The other thing was snakes. It's a problem. I didn't carry snake serum. I mean, really, even to identify the different snake serums are for different snake types. Is it a front fang, back fang? Is it a spitting cobra? And then one day, I'm coming up really fast because I'm falling behind. I'm not doing my 15Ks. I'm coming really fast. I remember coming up the slope, and within a foot of me, as I come up the slope, there's a big fat snake in the morning warming itself on the rock. Well, talk about being frightened. Yes, I was. But luckily for me, that snake was also frightened. And it was fat. And he whipped off the other direction. Now, I was lucky it wasn't a puff adder. Puff adders are lazy. They wouldn't move. They would have rather struck me than move away. And then one day, I'm going around, and there's no maps. This is before internet. I don't have any contact with the outside world. And there's a hill, around that hill. I think sheep would have been grazing there. And there's what seems to be a path going round, disappearing around the side. So I take the path. Now, to my left, because the ocean's always to my left, because I'm going southwest, and the hill drops away about 20, 30 feet away. It drops into about 50 feet drop down to the rocks below, and the sea is pounding and so on. But the path is looking good, and I'm okay. I'm so intent on my walking on this path that I forget, and I don't check both to my left or to my right, because the hill gets steeper and steeper. And after a while, the path gets narrower and narrower. And at a certain point, I realize that I can touch the hill with my right arm. So it's so steep, and I look to my left, and only 10 feet away now, there's a sheer drop of 50 feet down to the ocean below. And there are rocks and pounding surf, and the path has disappeared. I thought even the sheep thought it was too dangerous to be there, and they stopped walking along this path. Now, the big problem is I have to turn round. I'm on this very steep slope, and with a heavy pack which unbalances me. Well, a testament to me being able to turn round is the fact that I'm standing in front of you. And although I tell you, that was one of the riskiest points in my life. I had a few, but that one is one of them. And then I go further. I'm maybe, 5 days into my 7-day hike, and I get into this thorn forest. Now, a thorn forest are bushes. They're not actually trees, but the thorns can be 6 inches. It's impossible to go through a thorn bush. And there's a whole load of them surrounding me this way and that way. And I'm trying to get out, and I can't. I know roughly where I'm supposed to be going, but I can't find my way out of this forest. And then I hear voices. And I think, okay, maybe some of the locals are here. And I go around, and there they are, 2 Xhosa men. And they're big. I look up, and one of them has a knobkerrie. A knobkerrie in South Africa is a branch that's been fashioned out where there's a joint of many branches coming in. It's been rounded. It's a club. And the other one has a similar branch with a big industrial metal nut screwed on the end. And I ask them, which way do I go? And they pretend not to understand me. Now, in South Africa, everyone speaks English or Afrikaans, probably both. There's no grown person who doesn't speak one of those 2 languages beside their own local dialect. And I'm watching them, and then they're tapping their things, looking at me, talking among themselves, and I think, I'm in deep trouble. They're thinking of robbing me. Now, what do? I don't actually know the way out. And I thought, what I'll do is I'll saunter away, very gently start backing out before they know what's happening. I got to turn and go the opposite direction. And I had a plastic gun. The gun looked like a normal gun, and it looked very lifelike. And I knew exactly which part of my pack it is. So that's what I did. I started going away and then turn and go, and they go, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I drop my pack, open the thing, and I pretend to cock the gun. whoa, oh, of course. That's like from the frying pan into the fire, because now they want the gun. The most desirable thing in South Africa is a gun. So now I'm safe for the time being, but I've got to get away. And that's what I do. And I really put on a spurt. I go fast, I go left, right, whatever it is. I manage to get out of the thorn forest. They're not behind me. But now it's afternoon. This was in the afternoon. And tonight, they're going to be looking for me. So I got to try, and I did. I went as fast as I could. And I was weaving in and out. I didn't go on the beach as I usually camp. I went in, and I found another thorn scrub, and I had a machete, and I chopped the thorns down, the bushes, and I made a corral and dragged them in. So they were, all the thorns were facing out. And that night I didn't sleep. That night I stayed awake and listened, and no one came. So all was well. And I did get to Port St. John's, and it was 7 days. And boy, I was hungry when I got there. And there was a smorgasbord at St. John's Hotel. And I tell you, they didn't make any money out of me that day. It was a seafood smorgasbord with oh man, I ate. And did I get my mojo back? Yes, I did. And if you were to ask me, what did I get out? What wisdom did I get out of all this? Never to have your own business. Never again. No, I vowed never to do that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Janos. I guess it's always true that the human beings are more dangerous than the snakes. And there are angels in our lives. Don't always recognize them, but sometimes you can.